Château de Capella, a 16th century chateau in the south of France, with history as a lazaretto, home to Baron de Savon, a personal bodyguard of King Louis XVI, and a temporary hospital during the First World War. When we bought the chateau at the end of 2019, there was no electricity, water, heating, or sanitation. The garden was a jungle, and the chateau's interior required extensive restoration to every room. It was a challenge our young family took on with enthusiasm, and we have been living at the chateau since early 2020. Despite the global pandemic, we managed to overcome many obstacles, and although we are a long way from finished, we are continuing to create a wonderful home for our family. We hope you enjoy the journey with us.
Welcome to Château de Capella.
Bonjour.
We have some footage for you after this video, just a quick explanation. Some of the footage that follows will again be in the wrong format. The reason for this is that we are taking it from old family archives and we never expected to use it on YouTube.
Some of the footage will be in portrait mode because what we did was we grabbed the camera when a digger was moving past with something extremely cool, or the children were shouting about something, and it was the natural way to grab a camera at that point.
Also with the sound quality, we hope that future videos will have better sound quality. You will experience some differences in sound quality, again different devices that we used in a year ago or so when we were doing the first videos. Again, we never expected to use it on social media, so please bear with us and we hope you continue to enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching.
Right, so we're here outside the house. I'm at the base of the tower, and this is the outside of where the old door has been blocked up, and it looks pretty nasty. It looks nastier from inside, doesn't look any better from outside. So I reckon that's a good candidate for a door. Maybe a door with a screen so no one sees it, or a door with a little bush next to it so we know it's there. The point was you could park the car here and take the stuff inside to the kitchen fairly easy, and it'd be great to have that toilet wash hands when you're out in the backyard without having to traipse through the front of the house. The kitchen is on the other side of this wall, so next to the door. These tiles under here you can kind of see it's a little bit dark, the reddish tiles, and there's a little hole just there. It's focusing on my finger, which doesn't help. That's the back of the fireplace in the kitchen. That's the little bread oven that's been put in there. And I don't know what this is, some kind of funny structurey thing which you may or may not want to get rid of.
Animal house.
You think?
Some sort, with a little doorway in.
Small?
Chicken house.
Chicken thing?
Yeah.
Not many chickens. I think I'd want a bigger one.
So they had a ramp up to it.
I guess. And then, so fence structure that exists, so there is a fence that goes down.
When we first bought the chateau, the driveway was made of dirt, poorly drained, and became muddy and barely passable with only the slightest amount of rain. Some days, we had to park our vehicles down at the local tennis courts and walk up the drive. We quickly realized that a new driveway would be a priority, and drainage too for the land, especially as we needed to get large vehicles in for the upcoming works. Here is some of our video footage taken before we took ownership of the chateau, starting towards the bottom of the garden and looking up at the main house. This is Sanita describing it to her parents in South Africa, including some of the forest and loads of brambles and ivy. It starts looking up towards the front of the house, and then scrolls west, showing the archway and the dependences. As we walk back, looking across the front of the chateau, we see some of the wonderful trees and the wonderful colours that are in the garden. We also see some of the open spaces that are yet to be made into some parking, turning, and then a lawn at some point. When we look at the front of the house, we see the beautiful shutters and the woodwork of the door, albeit with some graffiti. Luckily, the children enjoyed running around the garden even at that time. The tour then heads over to the old stone gate and shows the tower and what we think was an old chicken coop on the outside of the kitchen. As you head through the old stone gates, you can see down the tree-lined driveway. To the right of the driveway begins the forest. Oak, chestnut, acacia, and that ivy and brambles also everywhere. As you can see, there was a lot to get done, but we all wanted to be involved. As an interim, the pink brick road was created to improve access. Old, damaged, terracotta wall tiles from inside the chateau were used as paving for the muddy driveway to improve things. You can see why it was so named in this photo, showing the pink road from the tower window. This lasted a while, but eventually was chewed up by the toing and froing of vehicles, and the road returned to mud. The next works involved diggers and dump trucks, and were to install a fosse septique for our sanitation, as we are outside of mains piping of the town, put drainage down to deal with the water and mud, and improve the driveway once and for all. First thing was to get all the machinery on site. Next, the task was to start digging trial pits to assess soil composition, necessary to determine what type of septic tank was needed to be installed. After that, the job was to lay out the network of underground pipes needed for the chateau. Throughout the days, diggers and men worked long and hard on the fosse and road, so lunchtime was always a welcome break. Tools were downed, followed swiftly by baguettes and cold drinks. Then, our usual lunch spot was dug up too. Despite all the chores, there was always lots to watch and see for us and the children. Sanita found a new, comfy spot to write one of her magazine articles, and even a dump truck dropping off tons of gravel is an adventure. The drive through the old stone gates was tight and on a bend, and had to be bypassed for the large machinery anyway. We decided to keep the lovely stone gates, but make a new driveway next to them for ease of future use for our family.
So here I am outside the chateau. It is a beautiful sunny day and we have full works going on. This is the first job where I've ever had my own full-size dump truck. Anyway, so we're digging some drainage for the property because the dependencies, the rooms here in front of us towards this wall have a little bit of moisture, and there's a little bit of a small stream which runs through there as part of the water which comes off the town above us. So there's a trench just been dug all the way across the side here, and it's currently going down here, and it's going to cut back into the property, and it's going to bring the water back and recreate our little stream on the other side. But full operation, full works, big job.
The drainage went all the way around the property, covering the dependences too. Most in need was the western end, which we had aptly named the River Room. During the works it rained hard, and the men were turned to working in mud, showing the need for the drainage and a new turning circle at the front steps. To finish off, tons of finer gravel was transported to site to make pathways and road surfaces ready for use. The works covered the Easter weekend, so the children had their Easter egg hunt in the garden as usual, this time with eggs hidden not just in grass, but on digger blades too. A lot of chocolate, and a week later, the fosse septique install was finished. All the land was smoothed out as best as possible, and the turning circle measured up and created. However, we swiftly realized it was not big enough for an easy turn.
The angle has always bothered me. I said that angle wasn't right. Now that it's done, I can see it's not right.
Do we need to change the shape of the drive outside the front of the house? Because it started off big. We then thought, oh, let's make it a bit smaller and see if we can cope with it, and now it's way too small.
Yeah, I don't want it all grey down here either, though.
The digger widened it, and hey presto, it fitted us perfectly. The chief designer was happy. You may have noticed the red ducting along the paths, laid for future lighting, and for a fountain in the middle of the turning circle. The pathways were then completed with rock borders, using rocks recovered from site. The diggers packed up, and the road roller took over to flatten everything out, from dependence pathways all the way down the driveway, until it was finished. Job done. The children will never forget the diggers, and none of us will forget the sight of a fosse craned in past the gate. The finished product is secure, is used every day as a pathway from our front door, provides a useful turning and parking space at the chateau, and is a feature as you enter. At the end of a long day, as night begins to fall, we know it was necessary. Here is our parting video, rain falling in the sunshine as Sanitation walks up the new driveway, christening it.
Jakkelstroom met volse vrou. Look at the rain. While the sun's shining. Falling through the trees on the driveway. And the forest in there. New gate posts. And also some new lights. Security lights. Looking really small against the tower. We might have to actually get some bigger ones. These are just temporary. It's not quite in the right positions either, but temporary lights on the side of the tower. And yeah, look at those skies. Beautiful.